Let's call this meeting to order. And as always, the first thing on our agenda is for the Pledge of Allegiance. So I ask that you all please rise and face the flag and follow as I lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, and can we have roll call, please?
Sure can. Let's see. Commissioner Heschler?
I'm here.
Commissioner Keldorf?
Here.
Commissioner Magai?
Present.
Vice Chair Newman?
Yep, she's here.
And Chair Baldino?
Present. Thank you. Now's the time for public communications. This would be the time for anyone who doesn't want to speak about something in the agenda to address the Planning Commission. Eduardo, can you tell if there's anyone here for public communications?
Seems like everyone is either the applicant or associated with the applicant, but as we've done in the past, we can just make a general announcement. If anyone wishes to speak, we will give a few seconds for that person or persons to unmute themselves and make your public communications or comments.
All right, seeing no public communications this evening, we'll go ahead and close public communications. Next item, written communications. Are there any written communications other than what was presented to us in the agenda packet?
No additional communication received.
Okay. Next item is the consent calendar. And I'm going to go ahead and pull this item, which would now bring us to agenda item G, continued business. No. So can we have a brief report on this item from the consent calendar? And what we're talking about here is the administrative use permit to allow full alcohol service at Richmond Bar and Grill located at 145 Richmond Street.
Sure thing, Chair. I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to our contract staff person who's been helping us out. He's helped us out with a couple other projects in the past, most notably the 650 project, PCH project, David Blumenthal. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to him, and he'll give a brief presentation to you all.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. It's a pleasure to be back before you tonight. I'll keep this as a quick, brief presentation. The request tonight is for an administrative use permit for the Richmond Street Bar and Grill. The application is to request to go to an ABC Type 47 alcohol license. Now, the site is a 3,500 square foot site that is located on Richmond, just south of Franklin. There are 3 buildings currently on the site. Building 1 is a 1,018 square foot building. Now, this building does have the kitchen and permanent seating areas within it and a bar located in the restrooms. Building 2 is a 375 square foot building. The building is flexible seating that can be configured however the applicant can work within the constraints of the building. They do intend to use this for additional dining area and potentially some small event or group space. Building 3 is located to the west side of the site. The first floor, building 3, is just strictly storage area for the applicant's business. The second floor of the building is an apartment that is unrelated to the operations of the business. In addition to the 3 buildings, there are 2 separate outdoor dining areas, one between building 1 and building 2, and the second located between building 2 and building 3. Now, the Richmond Street Bar and Grill started back in 1976, and they originally operated under an ABC Type 40, which is beer only. In 1991, that license was upgraded to a Type 41, which allowed beer and wine with the operation of the restaurant. Currently, there are no entitlements that apply to this site, so they just operate under their ABC license. The proposal is to go to a Type 47. Again, this is still for a restaurant, but it allows beer and wine along with the distilled spirits. Proposed hours of operation are from 11 a.m. to midnight, Sunday through Thursday. And then on Fridays and Saturdays, those hours will be extended to 1:30 a.m. Staff has reviewed this proposed request with all the required findings. We do feel that those findings can be made in a positive manner. Additionally, pursuant to the California Environmental Quality Act, we do believe it qualifies for a Class 1 exemption. With that, that will be conclude my report. I'm available to answer any questions you may have on the business.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
I was just curious if the hours are the same.
They are extending from this proposal will extend from their current hours. I believe they are closing at midnight now. The business operators are online with us tonight and can clarify the hours.
So can I ask a question of you, Chair Baldino? Is there a specific reason why you elected to take this off of the consent calendar that we should be concerned about?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk with the applicant, Zach, there. I see he's online.
Hi, guys.
Hey, guys, how are you?
Good, how are you? Christine Riley here.
Good. So, are there any other questions for staff before I open public communications and ask my questions to the applicant?
Yeah, is there a finite number of Type 47 licenses that are available? Do they come along to anybody who needs them, or how does the state distribute those?
The state has a finite that they issue every year for new licenses. In order to obtain one, essentially business owner either A, needs to enter the lottery that the state offers to be awarded one of the new licenses, or they can purchase a license from another business and then transfer it from that business to this business. Our understanding is that the business owners are in discussions with another business to purchase a previously issued license.
Gotcha. And is that finite number a statewide number, or is it isolated to our area?
No, it is the finite that they issue to our area. I mean, I'm sorry, statewide is how many new ones.
Gotcha. So they could purchase that license from a bar in San Francisco if they're closing or something.
So long as we're not crossing the threshold, because there's secondary numbers, which is the finite that can be issued per population for total alcohol licenses. Those numbers are based on census tracts. And then if you cross that, then there's the requirement for a public needs and convenience finding. As long as we're not crossing those thresholds, then yes, they could purchase from any other part of the state and bring it in.
Well, actually, David, maybe that's a better question to ask. What is the carrying capacity of El Segundo? Just out of curiosity.
Unfortunately, I don't have that information. It says, again, based on population, and there's a specific number. Typically what happens is ABC flags the businesses or flags those census tracts for us.
Gotcha. I was just curious. Interesting topic. Okay.
Not to interrupt here, but we're actually in talks with buying the one when the office downtown closed in the Rite Aid parking lot. That's the one that we're actually looking to take over. So it would actually stay in El Segundo.
Great.
For what it's worth.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Zach. Any other questions for staff? Okay, I'll open public communications. First right goes to the applicant. Thanks for coming tonight, guys. I appreciate it. I wanted to ask you first, nice work on all the improvements you're doing over there, fixing the place up. But the parklet out front, if you had your choice, would you like to keep that after the COVID times, or is that something where you see it as temporary? What are your feelings on that? I'm just taking a straw poll here of.
Yeah, I mean, we would love to keep it. We love it, and we think it helps a lot with our business and stuff. So
yeah, we definitely want to keep it if possible.
Yeah.
And how many spots were there? Was that just one spot?
No spots. It was actually just
A planter box.
Planter box. So there's two
okay.
that are still there. Actually jigsawed around it, so the palm trees are still there, but everything else is just bushes around it. So we weren't taking up any parking spots at all.
Okay, and have you heard anything officially from the city? I'm asking because I haven't heard anything about what the plans are for Richmond or parklets or anything after COVID life.
The last we heard is everything was officially extended until December 31st, including the shutdown of Richmond where Slice and Pine is, but that they're gonna play it by ear after that and just kind of see how it goes.
Mr. Chair, I can help out that a little bit, if I may.
Sure.
The order or the proclamation has been extended. there's a city committee that's looking at extending the opportunity to have these little parklets out there. They're looking at, safety concerns, what kind of barriers do you need? And then also aesthetics. Do we have to put planters out there? So it is being looked at, and we hope to come to conclusion on that before December. But we do understand that the businesses do want to continue this, and it's been a benefit to the businesses, and so it is being taken a look at.
Okay, and what's this committee? What's it comprised of?
It's the Public Works Director and the Assistant or Deputy City Manager, Barbara Boss, and I think the Parks and Rec person, and I'm not sure who else. There's a group, and then in planning, I haven't been too involved just because of, I'm not here full time, but typically it'd be somebody from the planning also and building.
Okay, so the city is thinking about this, and it's not going to be something that's going to jump up on us in December.
Absolutely, yeah. There's been ongoing discussions.
All right. Well, guys, thank you for your input. Anyone else have any questions for the applicant? Okay, hearing none, I'll go ahead and close public communications, and all further comments shall come from the dais. Any comments from anyone on this? All right, this is on our consent calendar, which means it's already been administratively approved. I just wanted to thank Mr. Blumenthal and the applicant for coming with us today. I really don't have any comments on this or any issues. I do appreciate you guys coming in and fixing up the Richmond bar and keeping it going. And I appreciate you keeping the peanut butter bacon burgers on the menu. That's important.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a big deal at my house.
That's awesome. Thank you.
We appreciate that.
Brenda, do you have a comment?
No, sorry, I was waiting, staff member. was
You're
in-
waving,
I'm
okay.
Sorry, apologies.
She was high-fiving
No
the
problem.
bacon burger, right?
Right.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and make a motion to receive and file this matter. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Sure thing. So, Commissioner Hessler,
Aye?
Commissioner Cutler,
Aye.
Commissioner Magai,
Aye.
Vice Chair Newman,
Aye.
Chair Baldino.
Aye as well. It passes. All right. Congratulations, guys. Best of luck to you.
Thank you
guys.
so much.
We
Appreciate it,
appreciate it.
everybody. Thank you.
Good night.
Okay, next item on the agenda, continued business none, which brings us to agenda item H, new public hearing. H2 is an environmental assessment 1306 and El Segundo South Campus Specific Plan Amendment 2101. The project address is 2100 to 2198 El Segundo Boulevard, which is the old Raytheon campus. And what was proposed would be to amend the specific plan to delete office and to add a self-storage facility up to 250,000 square feet. And it says in our agenda, the applicant has withdrawn this based on a staff recommendation for denial. Is that correct?
Not quite.
No,
Continuance.
Correct. Yeah,
So-
the applicant has not requested to withdraw, it just has requested to continue to a date uncertain. And because we don't have a date certain, we will agendize it and notice it when it comes before the Planning Commission at a later date.
Okay, so what we're being asked here to do is not continue to any date certain. I mean, there's really no action for us to take, right?
Right, just accept the applicant's request to continue, and we'll take
Okay.
it from there in terms of noticing.
All right, well, as you continue to negotiate and talk to the applicant, I would like you to pass along from me that I'm very curious and looking forward to seeing where that park is going to be put. Okay, next, now that we're moving on to agenda item I, new business. This is EA 1308 and CUP 2101, conditional use permit for Portal School. Location is 555 Aviation Boulevard, Suite 180. And can we have a staff report for this, please?
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to go ahead and again turn this over to David Blumenthal. Again, Mr. Blumenthal has been an asset to us from afar as an extension of staff. So with that, I will turn this over to him for a brief presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. This request is for a conditional use permit environmental assessment to allow a private high school, which is 9th through 10th grades, at the property at 555 Aviation Boulevard. The subject site is 9.5 acres. It's located on the west side of Aviation between Utah and Alaska. The site is currently approved with a 235,948 square foot building and includes 275 surface parking spaces on the site. In addition to the surface parking on the site, there's an additional lot to the south on the opposite side of Alaska that contains an additional 534 parking spaces on the site. The proposed school will occupy a tenant space along the northern side of the building along Utah Avenue. So here we see the floor plan of the school. The space is 2,757 square feet for the private school. It does consist of 2 class areas, an open area for studies, 2 private offices, along with the reception and the pantry area. And the pantry area is for storage of certain food items, possibly like a microwave, coffee maker, that type of thing. There is no cooking proposed for this school. Additionally, there is a storage room and then the 2 restrooms within the tenant space. Finally, there will be a private patio that is located just outside of the front doors of the school between this building and the street, which students could utilize during the school day for their lunch or to go out and do studies. Now, this proposal is for the private high school. Now, private high schools, unlike the charter schools or public schools, do not fall under the state's education code, but they do fall under the city's zoning authority. So this is why this is before you tonight, unlike a public school, which may not come before you. The school will have 60 students maximum. The operation hours are from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. with classes typically between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. Students will attend 5 days a week, but however, there is 2 flex days in their schedules where they could study from home. The applicant estimates approximately 20% of the students will take advantage of the home flex days and study from home during those days. Additionally, the school will have 3 full-time staff and between 3 and 5 part-time staff members. And as I noted before, the no kitchen or cooking will be at site. Students will have the option to either bring lunches for their lunch break or subscribe to a lunch program, in which case the food will be prepared off-site and brought to the site. Staff did analyze the site. Since there's no expansion to the building, there'll be no impact to parking, no impact to setbacks, landscaping, or other development standards. We also did look at the parking for the site, and with the school, there'll still be a surplus of parking of approximately 181 spaces. Along with the conditional use permit, we did take a look at the environmental. We do believe that this does qualify for the Class 1 exemption since it does not expand the actual size of the building and will occupy space which could be occupied by a general office use. Staff does believe that all the findings can be made for the conditional use permit in a positive manner. And that will conclude my report and available to answer any questions you may have on this.
All right, thank you, David. Any questions for staff on this application?
I had a quick question. Do we know how much of that office space is currently being occupied versus the available parking? It's just a curious question. Would you know that, David, or is that more something for the applicants?
I don't have that information before me. I know that there's construction still occurring at the site, so we don't know if it's fully occupied yet or not. The applicant is on, and along with their architect, and they may have additional information.
I can answer that.
If I may also,
Sorry, go ahead.
Vice Chairman, yeah, they're currently, the property owner is currently has submitted some plans for additional remodel work. So it continues to evolve, and that is one thing that we have been proactively looking at is in terms of how much of that building is being occupied versus the amount of parking available. And if the commission may recall, about a year and a half ago, the commission did approve a parking adjustment to allow car lifts on that lower part of that flag lot, if you will. So it would actually, at the end of the day, even though their existing parking on the surface lot is enough to meet the parking requirements for the square footage of the building, by them providing car lifts, they're actually going to be overparked.
Kevin, do you have a question? You're muted, Kevin.
Sorry, can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
What are the surrounding land uses to the property?
They're mostly industrial uses. Let me go back to my PowerPoint for you here. So you have industrial use.
Wiseburn School is right across the street. The
Yeah, going
Da Vinci School.
Yeah. So I guess more important, what is to the west of it, west and north, and so I know the office building to the south, but sorry, go ahead, David.
No problem. So let me defer to Ed, if you can. I'll have the land uses room before me.
I can answer that question as well too. I'm Joseph Bryant. We're the architect for the Portal School, and also Belkin, who's taking over the last major tenant space within 5.5 Aviation. To the west on this plan is also all office. It's radiology partners in that Frank Gehry building. Spectrum's right next to us. And then to the north is also all these industrial buildings have become office buildings, basically. There might still be some smaller industrial buildings, but the main ones directly around us have now all become office. And then across the street is Hawthorne. There's a middle school there, and then residential.
Okay, thank you. I think that I was asking because one of my concerns is when you put a school in a place, does that change in terms of, does that make it a sensitive receptor for future development to have to consider from a CEQA standpoint? So if we wanted to develop those light industrial areas, does a sensitive receptor, a school that close to it now, prohibit that? Or does that throw a wrench in the development of the other properties to the west?
It wouldn't be something that prohibits it, but you're absolutely right. It would be considered a sensitive receptor under CEQA. Any future CEQA analysis, including any MNDs or EIRs, would need to do additional considerations and possibly mitigation, but not flat out prohibit it.
Right, and to add to that, it would also really at that point need to come to you with a discretionary application. So if they're just going to simply remodel and they're not seeking any kind of entitlement, then at that point, they'd be, exempt from the CEQA process anyways. So to your point, Commissioner Magai, if this comes to us, for an extensive remodel and addition that requires an entitlement, then we would have to do the appropriate CEQA analysis, which, may also require you have the sensitive receptors, including this particular property.
So how was this site? Did the applicant look at other properties?
Well, Kevin, let me open public communication because I think the applicant is going to have the information for this. So are there any other questions for staff before I open public communication? No? Okay, let's go ahead and open public communication. Mr. Bryant, thank you for joining us today. He might have more background about, so it sounds like Belkin is taking over the majority of this site, and as part of that tenant improvement, they're building this school. Is that correct?
Correct. So, and Belkin and Grace is also part of the Portal School, so you can help answer these questions well too. But Belkin employees are also the instructors at the Portal School as well, so they're tied together. So Belkin moving into this space is why Portal School is also connected, part of their tenant space as well too.
Can you just elaborate on what Portal School is?
Grace,
Sure.
yeah.
I can do that. Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Grace Cruz, and I'm the head of school at Portal. So the question was, what is Portal School? We are a micro school, so up to 60 students, and founded with Belkin International to provide 4 years of high school and 4 years of college in the same 4 years. Our college partner on that is Southern New Hampshire University. Integral to our program is this, to our college and high school program is this career exploration. So Belkin will be working with us in a variety of capacities. In the 9th grade, it'll be some lunch and learns, some mentorship programs, and in later years, more robust internship programs.
So is the idea of a Portal School, this is going to be like an engineering science type of program?
It can be for students who are interested in that. Portal also has design, marketing and communications. So the whole company will be involved with that, depending on what our students' interests are.
And can any student apply, or is this limited to Belkin employees' children?
Nope, this is open to everyone.
So this is
Are there other Portal schools in other locations?
Nope, we are the first.
First one.
Yeah, we're the first Portal, and we're the first independent school corporate model.
So you said that this is a high school and a college, a 4-year college?
Students will be able, yes, so students will be able to get both their high school degree and their college degree from Southern New Hampshire University in the same 4 years. And the reason we're able to do that is because we are tying many of our courses to the same kind of what we're calling competencies, so that students will be able to start working on those sooner rather than later. If you're familiar with other high schools in the area, you know, a lot of students are taking sort of college classes at community colleges. So we're just really housing that in one place, as opposed to having students go elsewhere.
What's the process for qualification? How will you approve certain students to attend?
It's really about fit. The families that have come to us and have enrolled are, for lack of a better phrase, early adopters, right? They know their kids, they know that they want a personalized program. Their students have a very clear sense of maybe what they want to do now, sort of knowing that will change, but we're able to guide them in that process. So it's more about mindset than anything else. You know, we're not offering football or band or any of those big kinds of things. So I think for a lot of families, we're not the right fit, but for students who are looking for something else, we certainly are.
And just how many students right now would you think that you actually have and that would be willing to enroll?
So we have 30 students now, and we'll probably get to about 35 when our doors open.
Is there a tuition for this?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. There is. The tuition is $18,000 a year, but that includes both the college courses as well as the high school courses. We also have, due to our board, a very robust financial aid. So we're really able to admit families who are interested.
Are there scholarship opportunities for underfunded kids?
Absolutely. Yes, we are committed to reflecting the diversity of Los Angeles in terms of socioeconomics and our racial diversity. And I think we're doing a pretty good job of that.
Good.
So
What percentage of those 35 kids will be Belkin employee kids?
it's a good question. I don't know that any of them are.
Okay.
Yeah, we're starting with the 9th grade. So if you've got a 9th grader, great. And if not, they'll have to wait till next year.
So it's a relatively small space for up to 60 kids, spanning 4 grades. Does that mean everyone kind of learns together in the same space regardless of their grade level?
So we are really, for this site, it's really going to be the 60 kids total. So we've got 35 freshmen for this year. We might backfill for next year, but that'll be it. So it'll be these two cohorts, working together. The idea too is that in their junior and senior years, they will be doing more learning with Belkin. So they might be in that, working with Belkin in their space as well.
Gotcha. And lastly, is this school, can a kid learn everything they need right in that space, or do they have to augment that with any other public school or any other programs?
No, we've got it's going to be an A through G. Our courses are A through G approved. We're going through the WASC process as soon as our doors open on August 16th. And so everything will be happening on campus.
Gotcha. So you're building this out now, is this correct?
We are.
And these 30 or 35 students are all freshmen this year?
They are, yes.
So next year they'll be juniors, and then you bring new freshmen in.
No, we're gonna keep it to the 9th graders this year, backfill to get up to 60 for the following year, and that'll be it. Yeah.
So at the end of 4 years, you can start over again.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay. That's right.
I know, I can't think of his name, but I know the CEO of Belkin was highly, highly motivated and involved in education. He was on the director of the Weisburn School District, that charter school in our town. And so now that you tell me this is a Belkin lease and he's building a school within Belkin and employees are going to teach Belkin, it's starting to make some sense to me knowing what I do know. And I forget his name, but it does sound like this is very much a Belkin-driven idea of what a private school could be. And it's something I haven't seen before. It's very interesting.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, Chet is our co-founder. You're absolutely right. Yes.
Chet Pipkin.
Yep.
There you go. You said Chet, and I remembered. Okay.
Yeah. And students graduate with a high school degree in a 2-year or a 4-year college accreditation?
So that's really up to the family. So if they want to have that 4-year degree, they can. If they'd like a college experience, right, and to go away to college, they have that opportunity as well.
And if anyone watching in our vast home viewing audience wanted more information, is there a website or somewhere they could go?
Absolutely. It is www.portalschools.org, and we are still enrolling. So check us out.
Can I ask, is there a future plan for expansion?
There is not to my knowledge, in the South Bay, probably either downtown or Santa Monica, other campuses with a similar model, but that's down the road.
Does Belkin have additional offices throughout Southern California, or are they really focused here in El Segundo?
So with Belkin, it'll be in El Segundo. If we moved to establish another campus, it would be with another corporate partner.
I got you.
But for this specific location, do you plan to expand beyond the 60?
Nope, we're at 60. And that's per our agreement with Belkin.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, again, I'm just a little concerned. And it sounds great. It sounds like a great idea. I'm just concerned about putting a sensitive receptor where there could potentially be light industrial uses that that could be underdeveloped if there's a school there.
Ms. Cruz, is that space too tight for 60 kids?
We don't think so. The kind of learning that they're doing is pretty collaborative. They're going to be used, in teams and in pairs and things like that. So in our minds and our experience, I think it should be fine, actually. Yeah.
Any further questions? No? Anything to add from the applicant?
Just thank you for having us. Yeah.
just a real quick question. In a perfect world, would you prefer a larger space?
I don't know. That's a good question. I think, you know, I kind of like the container of this space because it helps us get creative and with how we use it and what we like to do. So I think the space is actually pretty perfect. But
And I will add, we did do an extensive programming and visioning exercise with both Belkin and Portal School before we designed the entire space and sort of came to this set size, number of classrooms and offices. So that was a whole process we went through before we submitted drawings to the city as well.
Did you have a hard time finding this space that was workable for you?
No,
As far as office space? No.
No, we did. We are the architect originally who renovated this entire building. So there's two tenants. There's four major spaces within this building. We're taking the third, and then there's smaller spaces that have been cut up, and other tenants, a cafe and stuff like that, are taking the remaining spaces. So it all obviously Belkin looked at many buildings in El Segundo and all over the South Bay and the West Side, but then picked this space eventually.
All right. Are there anyone else on the line here, Eduardo, who wants to make public comment on this item? No, I'm not seeing anyone.
Doesn't appear so. There's Zach, but I think he was.
Yeah. Okay, well then I'll go ahead and close public communication on this item, and all further comments shall come from the dais. Any comments, guys?
I think we got our questions answered pretty much. It's a very interesting concept. I don't have any further questions.
I can jump in if no one else will. I think this is a very, very interesting concept. I applaud Belkin and Porter Schools for moving forward with it. I think that giving micro schools and alternative types of school are very beneficial for those that want that kind of education. So I think this is a good thing. Again, you know, I've said it. I'm just worried that it might hinder future development of surrounding uses, but I don't think that'll be a big problem if the planning commission has the final approvals on putting potentially non-consistent land uses next to it. But overall, this is a very good project and very good concept that you guys are putting forward. Thank you.
Well, with Da Vinci right across the street, literally right across Aviation, is that sort of the same parameter? I mean, is that that school's within probably a similar circle? So is that condition already exist, even though that's in Holly Glen or Hawthorne or whatever that the community is right there?
I think that's probably a question for David, but I think that it's a pretty small parameter. I believe it's like 100 or 500 feet at the minimum. So even if you're across the street, it makes a difference, especially when you're abutting right next to light industrial uses. But that's more of a question for probably David.
No, if I can, Mr. Chair, you're absolutely right. For sure. There is a parameter of how far you go out and look at the sensitive receptors. You know, depending on where a future project occurred, it could or could not be the same. If it was further to the west, it might exclude out the other school, but capture this school. But again, it's something that typically just needs to be addressed through mitigation measures and can be usually handled quickly.
All right. You know, I first saw this and I thought it didn't seem a place for a school, but then when I figured out that Belkin was involved, and it is an interesting concept. The fact that Belkin is making this part of their tenant improvement shows the dedication they're putting into this. And who knows, this might be great for certain kids who kind of know what they want to do, or they're really into, I don't know, engineering, who knows. But it's nice to see corporate partners stepping up and taking a look at education and making changes. So more choices for kids in the South Bay of education. I think it's great. And Kevin, I appreciate what you're saying about future development in that area, but I think we've got enough professionals on staff here to make sure that what we do in the future is going to be fine with everyone in the neighborhood. So best of luck to you at the Portal School.
Thank you.
All right. If there are not any other questions or comments, I'll go ahead and accept a motion on this.
I'll move to adopt resolution number 2898, conditionally approving EA-1308 and CUP 21-01.
Okay, there's a motion. Do we have a second?
I will second.
Thank you, Kevin. And can we get a roll call vote, please, Eduardo?
Sure thing. Commissioner Heschler,
I approve.
Commissioner Keldorf,
Aye.
Commissioner Magai,
Aye.
Vice Chair Newman,
Yes.
Chair Baldino.
Aye, it's approved. All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Our next, thanks a lot. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay, our next item is a report from our director or designee. Anything to report, Dennis?
A few things, Mr. Chair. I wanted to announce that the city has hired its new development services director. He will be starting work on August 16th, a little less than a month from now. His name is Michael Allen. He's currently the planning manager for Culver City. And I believe, I don't have his resume here, but I believe that he's been doing that for about 3 or 4 years now. He started his professional career at the city of Cudahy. I'm not sure if I get the pronunciation right. He was there for several years, and I think he's had a stop or two in between. And so with that, we're also in the recruitment stages right now for a planning manager position that's been vacant for a year or so. We'll be doing interviews very soon for I think the top 3 or 5 candidates. The idea being when the new director starts, we'll have that list already and he'll have the opportunity to fill that position as soon as possible after that. And then to fill out our positions, I've just requested to be able to start the recruitment for the assistant/associate planner job and get that list ready also. So that'll put city staff up to full speed, hopefully in the next few months here, couple months. So that's a positive thing. Also, as you know, we've been working on some fairly large projects for the city. The Pacific Coast Commons, 260 plus apartment units. The Catalyst project, which is a couple of large 60,000 square foot office buildings. And then also the Standard Works project, which is similarly a couple of 60,000 square foot buildings. Just because of the environmental review for that process, it takes a while. And I've been getting some questions about the status of those projects recently. And so hopefully next week I'll have prepared for you a memo, just kind of giving you the status of those large projects. So if you are wondering, you'll know if you're getting questions, just to try to bring you up to date on the larger projects that we are working. But hopefully this fall sometime we'll be getting all those projects to you. And then the last thing, at this time last week, I was prepared to tell the Planning Commission we're going back to live meetings. I got the okay. Well, that all changed. And so, you know, with the masking and all that now, we're back in these meetings. In City Hall, we're going back a lot of these virtual meetings. And so we've taken a step back. I don't have a date when we can go live again, but city attorney seems to think it's going to be probably 60 days or so. But as you know, nobody really knows for sure. And that's all I have.
So is City Hall open right now? If someone wanted to make public comment, do they have to, is it only on Zoom?
No, City Hall is open. You have to wear a mask. We're not, most of our meetings are virtual, but if people coming in for building permits or whatever reason, they are allowed to come in. They have to have their temperature, wear a mask. Yes, the counter's open.
Yeah, the counter is open, Mr. Chair, but no, we don't have the City Hall council chambers aren't open for someone from the public to come in and voice their opinion on an item that's on the agenda.
Okay, thank you. All right, anything else, Mr. Cook?
No, sir.
I do have one thing, if I may. Sorry, excuse me. I wanted to just bring this to the commission's attention. I know it's still summertime, but thinking ahead, more specifically to the month of November. So as our planning commissioners know, your commission meetings are the second and fourth Thursdays of the month. Those two dates in November both happen to fall on holidays this year. So you have November 11th, which is Veterans Day, and then November 25th, which is Thanksgiving. So due to the fact that those are holidays, we would conceivably, not have those meetings. But I wanted to alert you to that because thinking ahead, perhaps if the commission wants to either not have any meetings in the month of November, that's certainly within your prerogative or purview, or if you wanted to think about a couple dates there that could potentially work for everyone's schedule, and we could, bring that back at one of our near future meetings to make that official, so that we have at least one meeting in November if the commission desires to do that. So I guess with that, I would either, if you want to just kind of chat about it right now, or if you would like to send me an email that perhaps would work for each and every one of you, and maybe there's a common date there. I don't know if the commission wants to at least say, hey, let's maybe make it on a Thursday, make it on a Wednesday, and then email me separately. But I wanted to raise that issue now instead of waiting till we get to closer to that time. And I understand it's a could be a catch-22. I mean, it could be so far in advance that no one knows their schedule, but nonetheless, I just wanted to raise that to your attention in case you all wanted to consider a special, at least one special meeting in that month.
That's a good call, Eduardo. I know that there have been times when the planning commission has been adjourned because there hasn't been, or there's been not prepared topics for the agenda. So either we just pick one. It could be a Thursday, maybe instead of second and fourth, it's just the third Thursday. We have one meeting, and I'm sure that amongst our crew here that we should be able to get a quorum, even though it is a tough time of the year, getting closer to the holidays. Just sort of pick one, maybe.
Yeah, I would propose the 18th, the Thursday on the 18th. Set that now, and if it's a problem, we can move it later. But
yeah,
at least we've got one meeting on calendar in case we need to get together and do anything.
There you go.
Is anyone aware of any issues with the 18th right now?
Works for me.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Can you also check if any of the major projects that Dennis just talked about have any drivers that are surrounding that month, to see if there's any
Yeah, No, that's a good question, Commissioner McGuy, and that's why I wanted to put it out there, just in case one of those whether it be Standard Works or Catalyst or one of the other number of projects that are coming, that are in the pike. We just want to make sure that we at least have a date out there so that it doesn't get hung up. So with this, I mean, definitely, I'm sure that any applicants that could potentially go on that day will be very appreciative of that.
All right, well, let's plan on the 18th, and if you need us to have another meeting on the 4th, just let us know. We'll try to accommodate.
Okay. As it gets closer, if there is a need, I'll let you know. But at least for now, we can rest assured that at least on the 18th is good. Thank you.
All
I
right,
appreciate
thank you.
this.
Sure, thanks for bringing it up. Okay, next on the agenda is a report from the City Attorney's Office. You have anything for us tonight, Greg?
Nothing from me tonight, thank you.
All right, thanks. Planning Commissioner comments. Any comments, anybody?
I have a question for Dennis. Just curious with the new addition, how long you're gonna stay and potentially transition that new hire with all that's going on?
Yeah,
Not to put you on the spot, but to put you on the spot.
I don't have a date. We just don't know, but Scott, the city manager, has asked if I would help him with the transition. That's kind of an undefined term, but so I will do that. And then some of these larger projects, Scott's also suggested maybe I'll stay involved with those larger projects until they get approved. After that, I don't know.
Well, if I get a vote at all, or we get a vote, I think that institutional knowledge, at least up to this stage, would be a huge help, and we'd appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, any other comments?
Yeah, I'd like to go back to the topic of outdoor dining. And Mr. Cook, I know the city's putting together a committee to study that. I hope they involve opinions of the local merchants, local restaurateurs, because the outdoor dining it's been great. It's funny that we think a couple of years back when everyone was all abuzz about parking and, oh, you can't take away you can't do these parklets, where are people going to park? And suddenly it's the best thing in town to have all this great outdoor dining, and people feel safe, and it's a great environment, and we're lucky enough to have this great outdoor weather. So I hope that outdoor dining remains here, and we keep it going.
Yeah, I agree. I've worked in other cities and downtowns, and outdoor dining is great, and it's the best place in the world is here in Southern California. So absolutely, we want to endorse it. We just have to make sure all the safety standards. There was an accident here a while back where at night the car ran into one of the barriers, and so we just have to be cognizant of safety and also aesthetics.
Sure, of course.
Well, and if those barriers weren't there, Dennis, that car would have run right into the restaurant itself.
Yes.
No comments from me.
All right.
If I can chime in real quick. So, Eduardo, I would at some point like to chat about item H2 on why, and maybe this is a legacy issue, but on why that staff recommendation was to deny. But we don't have to do this right now, but we should connect at some point. And that's it from me.
All right, well, thank you again, everyone, for your time tonight. I appreciate it. And that brings us to the last item on the agenda, which is adjournment. Our next meeting will be August 12th, 2021 at 5:30. All right, good night, everyone. Thank you.
All right,
Good
thank
night.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.